Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Another day in my life of watching movies. So, let's see what's on here, shall we? Oh, what's this? A 1989 Punisher movie. Oh, wow. Well, I remember when I first saw this a long time ago, and from what I can remember, I didn't really like it, but hopefully I'll remember liking in good parts of this, and hopefully I'll like the whole film when I rewatch it. So, let's get ready to rewatch it, shall we? Luke, don't watch it! Future me, what are you doing here? I need to warn you about a really bad movie that you're about to watch. Oh, you're here to warn me about a Punisher movie, aren't you? Yep, that's why Punisher 989. It's terrible. Please don't watch it. You're going to really hate it. Well, you've come at the wrong time because I'm actually watching good Punisher movies because look, I got his collection of 2 films, Punisher 2004 and Warzone. Oh, you're watching those ones? Oh, thank goodness for that. That's the better thing to do. Those ones are great. You'll love those. You're doing the right thing, Luke. I tricked him to think I was watching in Wars films when I was actually watching the 1989 film. I fooled him. So, without further ado, let's get to watching this film, shall we? Well, that was a big mistake I made, not listening to my future self. Oh my goodness. Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here. So, it is time for another review today, but unfortunately it's going to be a trash talk for what's supposed to be, of course, a comic book vigilante movie. And this is about one of my favourite anti-heroes by Marvel Comics all the time and in general. But I'd say the title of this film is simply the character in just name only. And this film, which I'm going to see trash talking today, it's been a very long time since I've done a trash talk. It's for none other than 1989's The Punisher! So this is, of course, directed by Mark Goldblatt. So, now, how was this film made then? So when it comes to production for this film then, of course, there was, of course, several choices for the role of the Punisher. Chris Lambert, the actor who I know being Raiden in Mortal Kombat 1995, was going to be original choice for a role, but he had to withdraw due to an ankle injury. And others were interested in playing the role, like, for example, unfortunately one of them was Steven Seagal, somebody who I have no respect for, but thankfully he didn't play the character. There was also rumours that Michael Paré was going to be playing him, but he said he was never approached for a role. And of course then, Dolph Lundgren was cast in the role, and he was interested in playing the role because I believe he's a fan of the character, so it's good that they cast an actor who is familiar with the character and also likes the character as well. But sadly, of course, the execution of the film did not go so well, sadly. And initially, I believe Nicole Kidman was going to be in this film as well, but apparently she must have dropped out, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the circumstances around her casting in the film, but she wasn't in the film, unfortunately, because she's a great actress. And I believe filming for this took place in Sydney, Australia. So, when it comes to the film's release, apparently it was also troubled as well because New World Pictures, who distributed it, had financial issues. And while it had a theatrical run internationally, it was released on home video in the United States, grossing $30 million. And this was compared to a $9 million budget as well. And since then, the film has somehow, I must say, gained a cult following, which I personally don't understand why. And you'll get to when it comes to my thoughts on the film. So, when it comes to, of course, my first reaction to this film then, so I first saw this film several years ago because I did a ranking video of the Punisher live-action movies, the 3 of them that I've seen, this included. And when it comes to what I think of this film, when I first saw the film, I absolutely hated it. In my opinion, it was trash and one of the worst comic book films I've ever seen in my life, ever. And how it's got a cult following is something I'm very confused by because I personally think this film was rubbish, in my opinion, and I don't understand the appeal behind it. I mean, what I will say is, if you guys like this film, then I'm very happy that you do. I'm really glad that you guys like something that I don't like. But for me personally, guys, I hate this movie. I think it's terrible. So, what is the movie about then? So, former undercover police detective Frank Castle, presumed dead after his family's murder, becomes the elusive vigilante, the Punisher, and I say Punisher in quotation marks because this character is anything but Punisher. And he targets mobsters with his skull-etched throwing knives. And as the mob groups weaken under his relentless attacks, the Yakuza, led by Lady Tanaka, seize the opportunity to invade their territories, threatening the Mafia by kidnapping their children. And Punisher retaliates. So, now when it comes to this film then, so despite me thinking the film is trash, there maybe is a few inequalities that I do have. So, when it comes to my overall thoughts on Dolph Lundgren as the character, so I really appreciate, of course, his effort for the role, because he actually did lots of martial arts training for the role and a lot of his own stunts. And of course, he's a fan of the character, so I admire, of course, his effort for the role. And I think in the scenes where, of course, we see his family getting killed, he does act out the scene really well, in my opinion. Despite those scenes being really brief, he does act out the emotion really well. But I feel that for most of the film, the character is really bland for some reason, and I personally don't understand why it's making him so bland. Like, I think his lines would have been so much better if the director gave him direction to show more energy in the lines, because Dolph Lundgren's a great actor, and he's really talented in other roles I've seen him in, but sadly in this film, he was really screwed over, in my opinion. And I did also as well like Louis Gossett Jr., may he rest in peace, as Detective Jake Berkowitz. I thought he was good at what he was doing, in my opinion, in this film. One of the film's few redeeming qualities, in my opinion, when it comes to a cast, that is. And I guess also as well, if you watch this film pretending it's not a Punisher film and just a 1980s action film, then it could probably work if you do it like that. Just pretend it's not a Punisher film and it's much better for you, because this film, in my opinion, barely feels like a Punisher movie. So you're best off pretending it's not a Punisher film when you watch it, and hopefully you'll find more entertainment from this. And I guess also the music by Dennis Drafe is also good, in my opinion, too, as well. Oh, you know, it's nice 80s style music that you can find in 80s films. I mean, the film is from 1989, so of course. And it's pretty good music, in my opinion, I'll say that. However, when it comes to bad qualities, I have this film, and so there's a lot of them. So, you know how I say, of course, that you should pretend this film is not a Punisher film? Well, here's why. Because, right, if you were to change the character of Frank Castle to somebody else with a different name, it changes nothing. Because this film, in my opinion, barely feels like a Punisher movie at all. And one reason why is because due to licensing issues, the Punisher does not wear his iconic skull shirt in this film at all. And in my opinion, that takes away the idea of his character being Frank Castle, because he's called Frank in the film, but where's his Punisher outfit? Like, how can you be Punisher without your iconic outfit, Frank? What's going on? And I don't understand why they do this, because on his daggers he uses, the skulls on them, so why can't we put it on his clothes? That's just, in my opinion, really dumb. And in addition to that, when it comes to the film being a Punisher movie, the violence, of course, there's plenty of it in this film when it comes to gunfights, of course, but in my opinion, they're ruined because there's barely any blood and gore, which is what you need for Punisher, because Punisher, of course, is a dark, brutal character. You know, there's a reason why he's an anti-hero, of course, in comics, not a hero per se, because his stories are supposed to be really violent, but no, this film barely has it, in my opinion, and that's why, in my opinion, it failed. And in addition to that, another reason why, in my opinion, this film sucks is also because of a villain choice, because the villain of this film, of course, is the Yakuza, led by Lady Tanaka, who is, of course, played in this film by Kim Miori. And in my opinion, the Yakuza were really weak, pathetic villains, and they literally had no personality whatsoever, in my opinion, at all. And Lady Tanaka, in my opinion, was not even threatening either. She was also, in my opinion, really bland. And I don't understand what happened there at all. Like, no familiar villains from the comics or anything like that. Are you joking? That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. So, that's why I think the film failed, because it didn't feel like a Punisher film due to no familiarity to the comics, really. Like, I think that's just really stupid, in my opinion. And the villains, in my opinion, were just so bland and just generic, and just characters I didn't even care about. I mean, because when it comes to this film's characters, I personally do not care about them at all. Like, they didn't grab my interest whatsoever when watching this film, because in my opinion, they were a joke. They also were unfavourable to, of course, Frank's origin story, because they changed the story, of course, how his family died, because in the comics, Frank's wife, Marie, and his children were murdered after witnessing, of course, a gangland execution while enjoying an afternoon picnic in New York City's Central Park. But in this film, however, his wife, who's actually called Julie for some reason, not Marie, along with their daughters, in the comics, he's got a son, actually, and a daughter. His family get killed by a car bomb, which was meant for Frank. So, I personally really don't like how they did this, how they changed Frank's origin story like that. So that's why I say this one doesn't feel like a Punisher film. And if you change the character of Frank to somebody else, it changes nothing. because the character doesn't even feel like Punisher at all, in my opinion. And it's a big shame, because Dolph Lundgren, like I said, is a great actor. I think he could have pulled off a better direction. And yeah, this one, my opinion, was an absolute joke, to be honest. Like, I don't understand what we're doing when making this film. But thankfully, of course, since this film, they made better Punisher films, of course, and better Punisher media, like, for example, of course, the Netflix show, which I definitely do love. But unfortunately, though, of course, I think this film, in my opinion, ruined the character a lot. Because, like, no skull on the clothing, despite being on the daggers, and also changing Frank's origin story, and also the lack of blood and gore in the film as well, in what's supposed to be a Punisher film, and also no well-known villains from the comics, either just generic villains who I don't even care about. And the film is also 89 minutes as well, right? 1 minute short of 90 minutes, and in my opinion, it's dreadfully paced, because the film is so boring, in my opinion, due to, of course, like, characters I don't even care about, or I have no interest in watching. I mean, because I actually rewatched the film for this video, and for more to watch in the film, I was actually playing on my PS Vita, bored. Or going on my phone several times because I was so bored. Because the film was just so boring, in my opinion. Barely anything happens in this film, apart from the action scenes. And in those, of course, like I said, there's barely any blood and gore, which I think is ridiculous. So, what I'll say is, screw this film all the way, and thankfully, of course, since this film, they made 2 more films, which I'm going to have lots of fun reviewing, of course, in the next couple of weeks, of course, down the line. But sadly, of course, this one, my opinion, is trash to this day. Like I said, all the things I like about it, of course, was Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, and also, as well, some of the scenes with Frank are good, like Dolph Lundgren's emotion was good in the scenes where Frank's family get killed in the flashbacks, even though the dead brief scenes don't last that long. And I guess his opening monologue, of course, where he's talking to God, is also, in my opinion, well said. I mean, I liked it on the voice comparison when I reacted to that several years ago. That made me want to watch his film, but sadly, of course, when I watched the film, I really regretted watching it because I thought it was trash, in my opinion. So, and of course, like I said as well, guys, when it comes to No Redeeming Quality, if you watch this film pretending it's not a Punisher film, you'll probably like it a lot more. Because, in my opinion, the film is anything but a Punisher film. I'd say it's just Punisher in name only. That's all it is, in my opinion. So, all I can say is, screw this film all the way. In my opinion, it's terrible, an absolute joke to the Punisher character and to Marvel Comics. Screw it all away. And thankfully, they also didn't do a sequel to this film either. There was apparently reports of there being one made, but eventually, of course, the plans got scrapped, especially because Dolph Lundgren didn't want to return as Punisher, and I can't say I blame him, because he was, of course, disappointed, of course, with how this film turned out when it comes to its release. I can guess he must have seen the finished film and probably didn't like it, and I can't say I blame him, because I didn't like it either. He really deserves better, in my opinion, Dolph Lundgren. He's a great actor, he deserves so much better. I mean, he's better in much more roles I've seen. Like, my favourite role, of course, is Ivan Drago in Rocky, but I really do feel that he was screwed over in this film. So, as far as I'm concerned, this film is trash. So, if I was to give this film a score out of 10, just like on my ranking video I did several years ago, I, to this day, give this film a very bad score of 3 out of 10. So yeah, this was, of course, me punishing the film, if you will. My opinion, it was absolute trash. And thankfully, next week, I've got a much better film to review for Punisher, which I'm very excited to talk about, of course, the 2004 film. And then, of course, after that, Warzone, which I'm very excited to do. So, guys, this is me, of course, doing my trash talk, of course, for 1989's The Punisher, Punisher in name only. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to look in the comments what you guys think of this one. If you see anything in the comments below what you think of it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe. Who's coming in the future. And I'll see you all later.